Yo, what's going on, people? How we doing, man? Welcome back to another stream. I'm joined with the main man, Hugh. Hugh, how you doing, bro? You good?
I'm good, bro. Good to see you. Good to be on. Big up the chat every time. Looking forward to it.
Yes, yeah. Trying to get rid of that music now. That's enough. Guys, before we start, as always, make sure you drop a like on the stream, man. Let's get those likes up to 160 people in the stream right now. Let's get those likes past 100. So hit that thumbs up button if you've not done so already. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. If you are not, we're closing in on 70k, man. So we need people to dig their heels in, man, and make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Going to help support the channel grow. You know what you can do. Become a channel member. The link is in the description. Sometimes there's a join button. It'll be below you. If it's not there, just use the link in the description. And while you're at it, guys, if you can help out my main man, Hugh, what is it now? 29 subs off, bro?
29 subs off the big 5k.
29 subs. So surely you've got 29 people, yeah. I've linked it in the description. All you have to do is click the link and then just go subscribe in it and get another city channel to 5k. That'll be a big. So I super appreciate everyone that can do that, man. But today we're going to be discussing all things hunting down Arsenal. We're going to be discussing whether or not City can do this. You know what I mean? Because it's Arsenal win the game in hand. It's 8 points. We've got to beat them home and away, and we've got to hope that someone can obviously take points off Arsenal as well. So it's a big task, but we've done this sort of thing before. How are you feeling about this, bro? How are you feeling about this right now? Are you optimistic? Are you sort of like meh? Are you down in the dumps? Like, what are you saying?
I feel a lot better after the last two games. I feel a lot better. You know, I was in Stamford Bridge for that away game. It wasn't our best performance. We grinded out a win. I went to Old Trafford the week after. We all know what happened there, and there was a part of me was thinking, it just doesn't look like us. It just doesn't look like Manchester City. And I've been afraid to say this word, but I do believe there's a huge element of truth in it when I say that it's potentially a bit of a transition season, and Pep has to do a bit of digging to find, who the players he wants to continue with. And I think he had to microscope the squad a bit. He had to really dig out who are the players that really want to be in this fight for the title race. And I wasn't sure if he could do that in time to give us a chance in the title race, but I think he's done that. I think through the last two performances, I think it's almost crystal clear who wants to be a part of this team, who wants to push Arsenal the whole way. And I think we've seen that. Two completely different types of wins in the last week, coming back from 2-0 to beat Tottenham 4-2 and then wiping the floor of Wolves. You can see the contrast in players and the quality and the hunger, the determination, and all those kind of things required. So I'm hoping that this is just a building block we can work off. I mean, I saw a stat this morning that in the 2018-19 season, at this stage of the season, Liverpool had 51 points and we went on to win the league. Arsenal currently have 50. So it doesn't take a miracle. We've been here. We've done this. Arsenal haven't done this. And that's not to say they can't, but can they handle the pressure? When the kettle's boiling, it gets a bit hot in the kitchen, the condensation on the windows, the stove's getting a bit techie. When you burn your hands a little bit, do you run away or do you keep coming back for more? We know we can do it. And I think Pep he's found his players. At least I hope so anyway. But you know what? We'll see.
What did you make of the of Pep with his little rant the other day? Yeah, because I sort of I tried to tell people, right, who obviously go to the games and that, who may have found it a little bit, as I've seen some people on Twitter took it a little bit personally, right? And I was I tried telling people, listen, he's not trying to personally attack you. You know what I mean? He's not attacking the fans because he what he's trying to do is Pep Guardiola realizes that this Manchester City team right now isn't in the form and isn't playing the way that we will just go and smack the league. He knows, so therefore he knows that in order for Man City to win the league, everyone's got to up the levels, and he's trying to get everyone at the football club to up the levels. He's trying to get the board to up the levels. He's trying to get the players to up the levels. His coaching staff, the fans, you know what I mean? Because he wants the fans to be louder because that helps the players. And I tried telling the people, listen, don't be personally attacked by this. This isn't a personal attack. This is him trying to rally the troops. You know what I mean? To get everyone going, man. Because that's what we need. We're in the front line, and at the moment we're struggling, bro. You know what I mean? We're struggling to get over the hedge. Not over the hedge. I always say hedge, innit? You know what I mean? But we're struggling. Whereas Pep, what Pep's trying to do is trying to get us all up for it. He's trying to motivate. He's trying to motivate us. What did you make of his rant? Did you think it was weird? Because for me, I thought it'd been boiling up for a few weeks, man. I sort of seen it coming.
Yeah, it had been coming. And the thing is, when it initially happened, I was one of those fans that probably took it the wrong way. I took it at face value and said, I know I was emotional myself. The players aren't playing well. We're dropping points, and I was reading into it too much. And then I woke up the next morning. I did my review. I got a lot off my chest, and I thought about it. I said, no, this is an obvious tactic by Pep, and there's not many managers in world football can actually use this tactic because you need to have a certain level of presence for it to be effective. If you use it, it can be potentially massively rewarding, and that's what Pep's going for. When he's talking about players not being his players and he wants a response from the top to the bottom of the club, he's sending a rocket up the arses of everybody in the organization. Everybody has to level up their levels. And when I say that not many managers in world football can use this tactic and have a positive effect, I mean that. You have to have a big presence. Players have to realize when he says something like this, it's oh shit time. This is serious season, It's no joke when he's talking like this. I mean, if Graham Potter says the same thing at Chelsea, everyone goes, this guy needs to shut up. He's talking absolute nonsense. But if Pep Guardiola does it, you go, right, this guy hasn't done this before. We have to get our act together. This is no joke anymore. When he's saying we're not playing the way he wants, there's a problem. And he's saying none of you are irreplaceable. I'm here for another 2 years. I'll find players who want to play for the shirt, who want to play for the club, who want to win the big trophies. If you don't want to, that's fine. You won't get picked. And hopefully, with him picking the players that we've seen in recent weeks, certain players being dropped, De Bruyne not playing the same amount of football, Walker, Foden, Cancelo, Bernardo, hopefully with them being dropped and seeing the other players thrive on the pitch, or Rico Lewis's, even your Alvarez's, it'll send a rocket up the arse of the players who are on the bench and say, I'm no longer just a part of a team trying to fight to win a Premier League. I'm now fighting for my own career for a football team to play in the starting 11. I'm no longer that untouchable Phil Foden that I once was. Great player, we know that, but you're not untouchable. And that's the way I want my manager to operate.
That's it. And look at this. Just the chat from Benno says there's still many at the game yesterday, really stirred up by the comments. I agree with LB trying to light a fire under us. Yeah, it's like,
Mm.
look, the fact that City are charging such ridiculous prices for these games doesn't help, right? So they need to sort that out. But yeah, like, try and understand what he's saying, because if he is having a go, he's basically saying our fans are shit. But he's not saying that. He's not saying that. You've got to understand where we're at and try and look outside. Look outside what's available in your vision. Look at the peripherals, man. And Pep Guardiola is seeing right now that this team is struggling. This team is struggling, and he's trying to get everyone to up their levels, and it's difficult, guys. It's difficult, man, because when you're down in the dumps, yeah, I'd say down in the dumps for a second. I'm not trying to make it sound like we're Everton, but what I'm trying to make it sound is like winning the league title is not easy. It's mentally taxing, man, because you can't lose games, otherwise you'll end up losing the league. And he's trying to get everyone, and he's tried it the nice way. You know what I mean? He's tried it. And it just feels like after the Spurs game, that was his, like, he had to come out and say something. So, you know, like I say, it doesn't help that the fact that the club are fucking up with the ticket prices. They need to sort that out. But yeah, like I say, man, if there's anyone in here who goes to the games who did feel a little bit personally, try and understand that I don't think he was attacking. No, I think he was trying to get everyone to increase the levels, man. Get the people try and get as many people in the stadium and make as much noise as possible, because that helps the players. And he knows that the players need help right now. And not only that, he's picking players right now. Maybe not on ability, but on as you said, bro, on who wants to actually play, who's showing passion. You know what I mean? Like, look at someone like Laporte. You're not telling me Laporte doesn't play all the games in the last 5 or 6 games because he's hardly really played Laporte. If you look at Laporte, he didn't play against United. He didn't play against Spurs. I don't think he did. So you look at these games. Laporte is better than Akanji. Laporte's better than Ake, but he's not playing. He's picking Ake and Akanji. Do you know what I'm saying? He's picking Rico Lewis ahead of Walker. You know, he's picking these players because he thinks that these are the ones, yeah, that are going to give him the best chance and are really fighting through whatever. So he's trying. Basically, cut a long story short, Pep Guardiola has not conceded this league yet. He's still fighting for it. But in order to fight for it, he feels like he's had to put a rocket up everyone's ass to get everyone going. And that's everybody, because he knows that it's going to take everybody. It's not just the 11 players on the pitch. It's not just the 11 players on the pitch. There's a whole lot more. There's the fans. There's the coaches. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? You've seen Pep Guardiola speaking in the All or Nothing documentary. Or it might have been the All or Nothing or the one that the club did. And he was like, you know, everyone makes a difference. The receptionists, the cleaners. And it sounds stupid, but it's true, man. You got to have that positive environment and get everyone in that winning mode. And right now, obviously, we are struggling. We've won 2 on the bounce, which is good. We've got to keep that going. What did you make of the response against Wolves, bro? Because, yeah, I thought it was pretty positive. Not the best game in the world, but better than what we've seen. And obviously, it's good. I thought as well, nice to see a few players, like, shouting and telling people what to do. I thought that was pretty cool, man.
Mm-hmm. It was, yeah, like you said, it's still not the beautiful best Manchester City, but it's a great response. It's definitely a few levels up from what we've seen in recent weeks. And the main thing for me was obviously getting the 3 points, a convincing win, because we haven't had a convincing win in some time. You know, it's been a bit of a grind, some of the 3 points we've picked up in recent months. But the main thing, yeah, it's people look like they're interested again. You can see who's interested. People barking orders at each other. Even in the Spurs game, to throw it back a couple of nights before, you're seeing people like Jack Grealish making lung-busting runs back into his own half from the far side of the pitch to chop down Son. I want to see players do that. I'd much rather the player who's willing to put in those shifts and maybe be less technically gifted than play the more technically gifted player who isn't showing the same levels of determination. I mean, the most prime example of that right now is Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis is, through performances of his own, forcing veteran, multiple-time Premier League winner Kyle Walker to hold bench, and even to a lesser extent, Cancelo to hold bench. Because you cannot argue that when Rico Lewis steps onto that pitch, he leaves half dead. He leaves everything on that pitch. And he's also a top footballer on top of that as well. You know, traditional right back, invert him into the center of the park. It doesn't matter. He does a top job. So Pep's picking these players based on the fact that they're showing enthusiasm and hunger. They're up for the fight. And like I said, that's all I want to see. And I hope that is sending a rocket up the arse, like I said before, of the players who maybe haven't been shown the fight. Because let's be real, if you're talking hand on your heart, there are players who have looked a little bit complacent, a little bit less hungry than they have done in recent years. I mean, Gundogan alluded to it recently as well. So there's truth to it. So I'm perfectly happy, and I just hope it's a building block. Like I said, we can bounce off this, keep building up, because there's no point beating Spurs, no point in beating Wolves if we don't go on and beat Spurs now in White Hart Lane in 2 weeks' time. Every game is massively crucial now, and I think I hope anyway. Sorry, we're coming into a good place. Pep, like I said, he's dug out
What
the
do you
players.
think that was a turning point then? Wolves.
I believe so.
Do you think Spurs could have been a turning point? Well, what were you saying?
I believe the Wolves one was. I still think there was doubt looming after the Spurs game. Yes, we picked up our 3 points, but to go down 2-0 by halftime in that fashion, there's still doubt there. People still saying, right, City can be got at. They're still not the exact same as they were before. They're not the juggernaut. We needed to go and wipe the floor of Wolves in the way we did. Whether it was the most fluid, mesmerising performance or not, we still thrashed them 3-0, and the big man gets 3 goals. Because there's been conversations, as you know, over whether he's making us a better or a worse team. We needed to go and do that. I think it's been a turning point, and I think there's an even more of a turning point to come very soon, hopefully this Friday night when you bring Ruben Diaz back. I think even though he's not the most technically gifted of all of our centre-half complement, he is the biggest leader in the squad. I think he has to wear the captain's armband. I think he is the person who will drive us that extra 10% in those games where things are a bit sticky. So I see a turning point, and I'm glad it's happening now. Because it's nearly February, it feels like, right, we're getting into squeaky bump time. But in a normal year, it's still only December football-wise. You know what I mean? Because the World Cup things are jumbled up. It's still December football-wise. We have time to fix this. The map is there. The route's there for us. So I'm satisfied that we've turned a bit of a point, but I want to see that continue. 2 massive, massive league games coming up, obviously.
Yeah, you know what it is? I've completely done a 180 on my belief on what I want to see from this team. Up until Spurs, I have been begging for Laporte, Stones, Walker, and Cancelo. I've been begging for it, man. So much so that the chat's probably fucking bored of hearing it. But that's what I've been begging for, because I've just been going build up, play, build up, play, build up, play, build up, play. That's the problem. Fix that, no problem. But once Pep Guardiola come out after that Spurs game and said, I've got to pick players who are like fighting for it, I've just gone, fuck it then. If you're telling me that there are certain players who you believe are not giving it all, and I'm not going to name anyone, right? But if he believes that there are players in the squad that he feels like you said the complacency, that's probably a better word for it, makes it sound less harsh, it may be being a little bit complacent, then I'm fully game to sacrifice that little bit of build-up play. Because for me, one thing that I think is an absolute must for any football club is that you fight for the shirt and you give 100%, man, and not be complacent. So if that means I've got to, deal with a little bit less build-up play, playing like the Akes, who's been fantastic this season, and I've always said he's been fantastic this season. But if you got to do that, and you can't play Laporte, Stones, and you can't play Cancelo, you can't play Walker for whatever reason, then I'm game for it. Because one thing that I would rather do is go down fighting than go down with like a fucking, limp performance type thing. So I've completely 180'd it, man. I completely 180'd it. And if this is the way he wants to run it, the one thing that I would say, man, on the defense, I've said this a little bit, whatever he decides to do, I think he needs to start picking a consistent back four, bro. Whether it's Rico, Diaz, Stones, Laporte, Ake, Akanji, whoever it is, I don't really care. Yeah, he can do what he wants. But for me, whatever he does, for me, I just think pick a solid back four, or I beg at least your back, your defensive 3, because we basically play a 3 at the back at the moment, don't we? At least your defensive 3 be solid, be consistent, because that helps, man. I mean, we've not had the same back 4 this season, hardly ever. You know what I'm saying? And I think doing that will help us, and that gives us the good foundation. Ruben Diaz, obviously, it's an interesting one. Yes, he doesn't have the best build-up play in the world, but it isn't awful. But, leadership-wise is something that this team, I think, needs right now. And he comes in, but who he comes in for, that's a different story. We've got a super chat here from Mohammed. Yes, bro. Says, we are missing pace in the team. Well, Mohammed called it in the summer. I did say in the summer that we should have signed a winger with some pace, but we didn't, and that was a risk. But, we'll have to see, because Mahrez right now is slamming. He's on some incredible form. Grealish is starting to come into a little bit of form as well. What are your thoughts on pace, bro? You think it's an issue or what?
I mean, I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I believe maybe it's a bit of an issue because both of our wingers, whilst they're very effective right now, they are very predictable. You know fine well that both Grealish and Mahrez are going to cut in on their favourite foot, and they're very good at it, and they're getting a lot of joy right now. But I am also a firm believer in having a plan B or a different dynamic option, which we did have in, say, a 2018 version of Raheem Sterling. I know we didn't see that so much in his later stages at Manchester City, but having a winger, a pace merchant on the wing, a Leroy Sani, I'd take him back right now in a heartbeat. I'd love Leroy Sani.
Have you seen he's back in Manchester again? I might go see him tomorrow, man.
I got a text off someone this morning say he was at the City game yesterday and he was invited to the game by City. Don't know how true it is, but listen, we know. And if you look through his Twitter as well,
if he was in Manchester yesterday, he would have been at the game. He would have been at the game. You know what I'm saying? So. There's, a lot of people, man. There's a lot of people in the chat who love Sane, man, and obviously you.
I love him, man. I'm a Sane fanboy. I think he's just sick.
I have an opinion on it, right? And this is complete opinion. This isn't based on any facts, anything, any rumors, nothing, right? But I think that when he went to Germany, I think in my opinion, I think he thought that maybe his entourage thought that maybe he could become like the star boy of Germany. The star boy of the Bundesliga and the star boy of the German national team. And it's not really worked out like that. Obviously, you got Musiala coming through now. He's the one that people are talking about. And I think he's looked at Bayern. Their squad isn't the best. You know what I mean? Will they be able to compete for the Champions League in the next few years when you've got like City, you know what I mean? PSG, probably not. So not going to win the Champions League. Yeah, you probably won't win it at City either, but fucking you're not going to win it. And then he just, there's no respect on the Bundesliga, man. No one really cares about it because it's not competitive. You know what I'm saying? So I think, and again, it could be complete BS, and it is just my opinion based on absolutely nothing. But I think that maybe there is a little bit of regret there in Sane.
I'd say there's a huge amount of truth to what you're saying. I think when Sane left, whether it's through his own thought process or, as you said, his entourage, I think he believed, or he was led to believe, that he was going to become like a global brand, LS10, Leroy Sani merchandise, and become a big figure powerhouse in Germany. And it just didn't work out that way. I mean, why is the geezer spending so much? He spent Christmas in Manchester. What are you doing in Manchester, bro?
Well, we know his girlfriend's from Manchester. We know he's still got his flat in Manchester, so that's reasonable. But he was back. He was in Manchester in Christmas, and he's back already.
Bro, if you don't believe that there's something going on, or he's at least trying something, or City are trying something, I think you're horribly mistaken. It's why Manchester of all places? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you played for a club there, but what are you coming back for? The weather's shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing to be enjoyed there other than for the fact that your old club is there and you still own a gaff there, which is really weird.
I low-key, the weather's been nice this week, man. You might have seen the weather forecast, bro. You check what it is in Bavaria, man. It might not have been very nice, isn't it? But right now, it's pretty chill. 5 degrees, bro. 5 degrees. Yeah, that's a madness. We'll have to see what happens with that one. Got a super chat here, man, from Professional Idiot. It's coming with story time. Yes, lad. It says, farming is important for our lives. There is one man who selfishly farms for himself. His name is Crapstiano Statnaldo. He used to stat farm European teams, but became washed and could no longer farm them. He's truly finished. It's funny you put that before, bro, because when I was on Twitter, someone's uploaded like Ronaldo's first touch for his new club, and it's poor, man.
He's thinking, is he?
Yeah, his very first touch was just arse, man. It was just arse. But yeah, there we go. That was a bit of a random chat there on Leroy Sani. Let's have a look at City's fixtures then. Obviously, we know what's coming up at the weekend. Friday night, actually, I should say. Obviously, FA Cup. Arsenal on just an incredible run of form right now. This is why I wanted United to win and not the draw, because I think they need that L. They need the L, man. They need the red L in the league. You know what I mean? That's what I think anyway. But how do you see this one going, bro? FA Cup 4th round, we're at home, Friday night, under the lights, 8 p.m. kickoff. You think Arsenal might... How do you think Arsenal will approach this? You think they could potentially go, fuck this off? Or do you think that's a risky strategy? Because then if you get beat, will people go, oh, City are better than you, they're going to beat you home and away in the league? Like, it's a bit of a dodgy one, isn't it?
I mean, from a City perspective, first of all, for the first time in a long time, I'm in the camp of I don't particularly care if we get knocked out. I mean, I won't be crying, I won't be screaming and shouting on my review. But then again, I'd like to win it, obviously, to progress in the cup, but also for the psychological W, as I think you're alluding to there. But if you're Arteta and if you're Arsenal, I think with the fact that they do still have a bit of a squad depth issue, I would fuck it off. I absolutely would. You know, you've got that
They're still
Europa
in the
League.
Europa League as well, bro. They're
That's
still
what
in
I'm
Europa.
saying, man. They've got that Thursday night football, and that's a big thing. When you get to that pressure end of the season I'm talking about, if they're still in the Europa League and go a Thursday, Saturday or a Thursday, Sunday situation, that's tough on the body, especially when you don't have the thickest squad as it is. I mean, in the core areas of the pitch, you have the spine of the team, the centre halves, the defensive midfielder, and even the 2 8s. They're not stacked with quality. They can't afford to start dropping players through injury in cup matches and Europa League matches. They've got to really decide what their priorities are. I think they probably rank the FA Cup the lowest, but they are in the predicament then, like I said, that if City do go out and say give them an absolute thumping on Friday night in the Etihad, that's a big psychological deficit for Arsenal. You know, we've just been hammered by the team that we thought we were streets ahead of, and we've got to play them 2 weeks' time in a league game, and that's looming in their minds. I mean, if you throw it back, Lewis, a couple of years, do you remember the time we played Chelsea? I think it was like 3 times in the space of a couple of weeks, and the final one being the Champions League final. They beat us in a cup match, and we're thinking, oh, it doesn't matter. You played our B team. No one really gives a shit. And then they go out and beat us in the league game as well. And we're going, oh, God. Because these things do have a psychological bearing, I believe. Or maybe it was the reverse way around.
Well, they do, bro, because by the time we got to that final, everyone was like, oh, Tuchel's got Pep's number. What? No, he didn't have his number at all. In the cup game, we played a weaker team. And in the league game, we was winning. And then Aguero decided to do a shit penalty, which I was raging at the time. So what the fuck are you doing? And then that was pretty much it. Then boom, Tuchel's got Pep's number. And then he goes and fucks it up with Rodri, not playing Rodri in CDM. Would he have done that if we would have won the 2 games? Probably not. I always say, right, I always come back to this, right? But I think it's absolutely factual information, right? I always remember this, right? Because it's relevant. But Paul Merson doesn't always speak sense. But I remember him saying on Gillette Soccer Saturday once, he said this team in like lower league was on like a mad winning form, yeah. Lower in the league, there was in the Premier League. There was on like a mad winning form, getting themselves out of relegation. And they had a cup game, and they just completely changed the starting 11, completely changed the bench, threw the kids at it, and went, we ain't in this, man. We're on a good run in the league. We're going to get out of this competition and then focus on the league. They got beat, and then they were on like a 6-match losing streak in the league. You can't just go. It's not just as simple as going, let's get out of the competition and focus on the league, because it does affect you, man. It does affect that momentum, and that's why I've been saying Arsenal need the L. That's why yesterday when people in the chat were saying, nah, I'll take a draw. I'm like, I'll take a draw, but we need an L. We need that red L. We need Arsenal to go into training and go, oh, shit, our unbeaten run's over. And then it's like they've got to go again. You know what I mean? Whereas at the moment, worst thing that they're getting at the moment is a draw, and that comes around very, very rarely. So I think we need to go for this, bro. I'm telling you, we need to go for it. Not only because I think we need to get them that L, even though it's not in the league. I think it would still help, but for the confidence boost that would give us, I think that would be absolutely huge. And the fact that, put it quite simply, we might not win the league. So if we don't win the league, at least we've got a chance at the FA Cup, bro. So for me, man, I'm going for it, and I'm looking for that. I'm looking for the dub on Friday night. But for Arsenal, I think Arteta's got a really difficult decision, because it's not as easy for him, because as you've mentioned, his squad just isn't big enough, is it?
Nope.
Not big enough, man.
I am kind of with you on that. Like I said, I won't be screaming crying if we get knocked out of the FA Cup, but there is a bigger picture to be had with beating them on Friday, like you said. And we know this all too well. When you are on those, game-winning streaks and you've won 13, 14, 15 at a time, and it's through multiple competitions, you know that as you pick them up and the more you go along, the more momentum comes with each one, regardless of the competition. And then once you come across one L, regardless of the competition, it's still a grey cloud, and it's a little grey cloud that looms over. And all of a sudden, Arsenal, who are a team right now who are thriving off everything being perfect, from the top of the club to the bottom, everything is rosy and happy right now. The fans are with them. They can't stop winning games. They're putting in class performances. Oh, you come to the Etihad on a Friday night and you lose a game. Everyone goes, okay, maybe we're not as bulletproof as we thought we were, but we're still going to win the league. But there's that element of doubt. And then we come to town 2 weeks later again. And then there's a worry there. So you're right. I'm on both sides of the fence. Beat them. I believe there's a bigger picture there. And we know that all so well, like I said. But if we lose, I'm not too worried. I'm not devastated.
Yeah, man. Let's have a look. We got Austin King with a $2 donation. Says, I think there was also a pressure from the German FA. Obviously talking about Leroy Sani. Yep. I mean, that doesn't sound completely unrealistic. That sounds pretty plausible. And we got Obeyed with a donation. Says, lads, we got this. Yes, yes, Obeyed. Pretty confident there. He also says, big up the original City Extra GOAT, Hugh. Yes, yes, Hugh. Obviously, guys, again, go check out Hugh's channel. Links in the description. He's 29 subscribers away, man, from 5K. So there's 400 people in here. So I'll be pretty disappointed if we can't get 29 people to the channel and get into 5K. It's another City channel. So let's support all the channels, man. And also, big up Obeyed for the 10 gifted for the chat. GG's Obeyed. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that, man. And well done to everyone that got one in the chat. Yeah, big game coming up on Friday, man. Let's see what happens. Obviously, it will be very much dependent on team lineups, but I do expect City to go pretty strong in that one. And then, bro, looking just slightly further ahead of that, Tottenham away. We've still not scored a fucking goal at this stadium, lad. I mean, before we talk about how we're going to beat them, do you think we'll actually score a goal there?
I'm going to this game, so I really fucking hope so. You know what I mean? I'm going there with a lot of hope in my heart. Yeah,
I went to the one where Gundogan missed a penalty. And I think, did Zinchenko get sent off? It's the one on the All or Nothing documentary, I think. Was that the one? Did Zinchenko get sent off in that same game?
He might have done. We've just had nothing but bad memories now. But remember Aguero missing goals in the Champions League, penalty shootout, or the penalty there as well. It's a hard place for us to go, but beating them last week is a massive psychological thing as well. As you know yourself, man, these title races, as much as they're about quality of squad, the psychological thing is huge. And each little dub you pick up and little thing you overcome, it's massive for the overall picture. I think Thursday night is massive for us going to the big test, because it is a big test. If we don't win it in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, you then are starting to look a little bit like it's curtains if Arsenal keep winning games as well. So it's a massive game. I don't know.
Yeah, I just hope we fucking score. You know what I mean? Because they're in some dead-ass form. I don't think that the players like playing for Kante. I think everyone knows that Conte's gone at the end of the summer. At the end of the season. He doesn't suit it. The players look miserable. And just hopefully we can just turn up there. And again, if we put in a decent performance, you know what I mean? And we're going for something here. We want to play for the manager. We want to play for the league. Then we should beat them. Because they ain't playing for the manager, man. They're just not. We watched them play. I think are they winning right now? I think Kane scored before to make it.
I think Conte's finished, man. I think mentally Conte's possibly checked out because he's not renewing. They haven't offered a new contract, so he's probably sitting saying, "Right, I'll just take my pay till June, then I'll fuck off. I don't really care anymore."
Yeah. No, I agree, man. We need to get on that, man. We need to be getting a dub there. But they've got dangerous players. They've got dangerous players with Kane and Son. Kulusevski, who I think is absolutely mega. I'd love to have him at City. He's class, So we've got to go there and respect them, respect what they're about. But look, at the end of the day, we know how they're going to score goals. Unless Edison passes the ball to him again, which hopefully he doesn't. They're going to get us on a counter-attack. So we've just got to make sure that we will create chances, I think, because their defence is arse. They've got the worst defence, bro, in the top 12. You know that?
No.
Shit, isn't it? You know what I mean? For a team that's defensive and boring to watch, they've got the worst defense in the top 12. It's wild. We will go there. We will create chances. I'm very, very confident of that. Hopefully, Kev plays this one because I think he could be crucial. And you know what? I'm actually pretty confident about that. Obviously, I might change my mind depending on how the Arsenal FA Cup game goes, but I'm pretty confident about this one that we're going to get the dub finally and score a goal. Unknown with a donation as well says Etihad needs to be rocking. We need to shake Arsenal the same way Anfield did to us in 2017. Well, we need to just. That's obviously the second game, bro.
That's not the April.
Yeah, that's the April one. That one, unless you're just talking generally. But yeah, we play Arsenal away first on the 15th of February, and we've got to go there and win. And we really struggled last year. I know it was late, you know what I mean, and I think it was near Christmas time, wasn't it, or something? And we had a lot of games.
New Year's Day, bro.
It was a New Year's Day, yeah.
Yeah,
it was difficult, but we got the dub. Let's have a look at some of the comments, man. Aidan Green, member for 7 months, says, big up Lewis and Hugh. Hope you're both well. Cheers, brother, man. Appreciate that. I'm very good, man. You well, Hugh?
Never better. Big up the chat. Big up to the extra.
There we go, man. And Darcy as well. Member. I've only been a member for Darcy. It doesn't tell me for some reason. $3 donation says, yes, lads. The title is still on. The title's still on, man. We've got some mad fixtures coming up, right? But if we can get through these fixtures, the problem for me is we've got to win the next 3 games, but the next 3 games are solid. Are solid, yeah? Tottenham away, which actually I'm pretty confident about. But the reason it's solid is we've not even scored a goal there every time we've played. Aston Villa at home with Unai Emery. you better believe now, chat, that he's going to sit his players on the edge of the penalty area and just go break us down and then get us on the counter attack. So that'll be difficult. And then we've got to go to the Emirates and win. But after that, I mean, it starts to get a little bit easier. You got Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth, Newcastle at home. That's going to be difficult as well. Palace, West Ham. You know what I mean? So we've got favourable games there. The 5 games after Arsenal, there's only really for me one game there that's a real tricky one for Arsenal, yeah? Look at their next 3. Everton away, which isn't a difficult game. If they get a new manager, is it a new manager bounce? Possibly. It's also 12:30 on a Saturday. That's decent. But it's Everton, so probably not. Brentford, that's pretty tricky, but the way Arsenal are in form right now, I'd expect them to get the dub. Then obviously City. Then they have Aston Villa. They've got Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, Palace, Leeds. I've got some pretty easy ones. Fucking, it's just mad, innit? You know, I'm looking at the fixtures, bro, and I'm trying my best, innit? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying my best to get myself gassed, but it's hard, man. It's hard.
I think all of these fixtures, man, you can look at them and every single club they're playing all have different reasons as to why they'll want to beat Arsenal and why they want to win that game. Like, as you have to remember, the closer you get to the end of the season and all the prizes up for grabs or the fighting for survival is coming to a climax, everybody's fighting for something different. You know, you're looking at Fulham's, you're looking at Brentford's, whoever, and they're fighting for European places. Brentford will have no fear going to the Emirates, having beaten us in the Etihad. Let's say we've taken down big dogs this season. There's no reason we can't do it in the Emirates. I'm not saying they will go and do it, but these clubs, they have a purpose. And there is probably going an element of truth to a new manager bounce at Everton. Whoever comes in, he will get the players going. I think Arsenal are playing Everton at the worst time this season. They'll bring in a new manager. The players will have to fight. They'll have to prove themselves to the manager as to why they deserve to stay at the club or be up for selection, whatever. It's going to be a different Everton team, however good or bad. I mean, all these games for Arsenal, everybody has a purpose. And when you get to that squeaky bump time and everyone's fighting for their lives, everyone's fighting for Europe, everyone's fighting for a league top 4, it gets tricky. But we've done that. They haven't. They haven't come up against these teams who are literally fighting for their lives. It's a big test. Have they done it? Or can they do it? Is what I'm saying. I don't know. Remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, they're game in hand against Arsenal, people are saying, isn't it? Not Arsenal, Chelsea. Is that real? That they're game in hands against Chelsea?
I think were they meant to play Chelsea and then the Queen?
Yeah, the Queen died. I think that's what it is. Yeah, so you know, Chelsea are pretty shit, man. But you never know. Chelsea won't want Arsenal to win the league, so they'll be going out for it. Look, it's an interesting one. Who plays first next then? So we play Spurs on the Sunday, and they play Everton on the Saturday. So they could go what? That'll be 8 points, wouldn't it? They could go 8 points. Fuck. And then we've got to go to a place that we've still not scored. That's pretty funny, man. That's pretty funny, man. Oh, yeah, Everton, man. Everton need to do us a job, man. Who's this new manager anyway? Sean Dyche. Is it going to be Sean Dyche? Or what?
I have no idea, man. Sean Dyche, yeah. Send him in.
12:30 kickoff, though, man. 12:30 kickoffs are never easy. We need that new manager bounce. There we go. We got the new manager bounce. We need it. We need it. Big up Obeid as well, man, for another 5 gifted. Yes, Obeid. Appreciate the donos. Appreciate that, brother. Yes, absolute legend. Thank you very much. And GG's to everyone who got one in the chat, man. So sort of like wrap it up. But by the way, guys, Hugh's on Big Six later, innit? 10:30. So if you want some more footy talk, let's see. Who's getting ripped this weekend, man?
Oh, it'll be Saeed, man. It'll be Saeed. He's done so much chatting in the last 2 weeks after the Manchester derby. He's getting it tonight, I'd say, from Turkish.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Saeed's on someone. But anyway, yeah, Big Six tonight, 10:30, guys, if you fancy it. Yeah, so it's sort of like coming to an end then on this. What we're looking at? We're looking at Cities. If you sort of said like 3 things that City need to do to sort of win this league, yeah. Well, what are the 3 things that City need to do? Whether it could be something, do we need to go to the market, improve a certain area of the pitch, mentality? Well, what are the sort of 3 things that you'd look at to say, if we do these three things, we have a great chance?
Consistency in selection. More specifically in the back 4 or the defense, whatever way you want to call it. If you can get a stable base, the same faces or as close to the same faces, game in, game out, they'll get used to it. They'll get used to the pressure every week together. They'll ride through these storms together. So consistency, determination. Obviously, it's huge, and that's an issue that we've had so far this season. But like I said, I think we're coming to the end of that. I think the determination issue has been solved. And what I'll say is, just as a whole, the whole club togetherness, the fans don't get on their back. I mean, I'm going to a huge amount of games. I'm fortunate enough to get to go to a huge amount of games. And from what I've seen, the fans aren't getting on their back. So I don't really understand what Pep's saying, but if he feels that, fair enough. I mean, like when we lost to United in Old Trafford, we were standing there singing, the song that went viral around Twitter. It was a great song. We're supporting them. So they'll say from top to bottom, just stick with the lads, keep supporting them, togetherness. So consistency, determination, and the biggest one for me is togetherness. Don't let rival fans come in and create chaos in our camp. Don't let rival fans tell us what we are. We know what we are. So stick together, back the team, back the manager, and I believe we'll come out of this on the right side.
Oh, I'm going to push you, right? On the consistency thing in the back line, you say you want to see consistency in the defence, which I agree with. If you have to pick now back four, right, which if you can have it inverted as a back three type thing, right? If you have to pick one now that plays 90% of the rest of the Premier League games, right? You have to lock it in and say, right, this back four will play 90% of the rest of the league games, and you can only change it for the 10% of other games, right? So what would you be your back four?
That is a brutal question, man.
Bro, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm low on content ideas, bro, so I got to push you on this. I got to push you on this, bro. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and say togetherness, and we've got to determine.
Right. I'll give you
bro. I got to push you on this one.
You're a bad guy, man. You're a bad guy. I'm going to go with, just for reliability, and I hope that not being in the starting 11 recently will give him a kick up the arse, Kyle Walker, trusty Kyle Walker. Diaz, I need his leadership, and I need that armband around his big biceps. He's got to be the leader. He's got to be barking orders. He's got to be telling the troops where to be. Get over the hedge, as you like to say. I want the Rolls Royce. I want John Stones beside him. I think he's our best technical centre half. I think his speed in transitional play and ball distribution is unrivaled. There's nobody else can distribute passes all around the pitch, diags into the attacking midfielders, whatnot, the way Stones can. And on the left-hand side, this is where it gets a bit sticky, but I guess Cancelo, and it's the same thing as I said, for Walker. Just hope that he can come good and things fix up for him. But I've seen today that his future's in doubt. I've seen reports coming from Italy saying that City are ready to offer him to AC Milan on a bit of cash to get the Leao guy in.
Yeah. I've seen a few rumours linking Cancelo away. I think that would be my back four on the proviso that all the four, which I think the two at the back are, and I think Walker is as well, but basically all four, so not naming names, all four are fully committed to the cause, you know what I mean? And Pep Guardiola feels like, they're giving me everything, because I just need, and this is sort of like a good place to wrap up, really, because I need the players to, I'm not bothered, I want to win the league, of course I do, I always want to win the league, but you can't win it every year, and it'd be boring if you won it every single year, right? So if we don't win the league, I want to go down fighting for it, man. And I want to see my players fighting for it. And when we lose, I want to see them in pain. Not because I'm some weird-ass guy, I want to see my players in pain. I just want to know that they're feeling what I'm feeling. I don't want to be feeling like my whole weekend's ruined and I'm down, man. I'm feeling like shit. Do you know what I mean? And I want to see the players like, buzzing, you know what I mean? No, never mind, we'll go again. Like, I want to see them in pain, because I want to feel like they're feeling what we're feeling as fans. And they really are caring about the badge. So whatever team he plays, and this is why I'm kind of like, with my predictions, obviously when we do the predicted 11, we do the starting 11, I'm kind of like, not that I don't really care about it no more, but I don't know who's these players that Pep Guardiola is saying, or some players maybe are not feeling it, or like are complacent. I don't know who they are, because he's not named them, and he's not going to name them. So it's kind of like I'm just picking players who I feel are giving it everything. So Akanji is giving it everything. Ake is giving it everything. So for me, I probably want to play them. Obviously, it's difficult for them both to play, because Diaz and Stones will be playing. So it's probably going to be Ake. If any of them are going to play, it's going to be Ake who'll fill in at left back. But I just want to see them. I want them to believe. I want to believe that they are fighting for that badge, man. That's what I want to see. Yes, Mr. Tahir with a super chat says Walker and Cancelo need to start playing. Just watch the 6-3 over United and 2-1 over Dortmund. We need to be quick with passes and fast breaks. I don't mind them two playing, so long as obviously they're giving everything for the shirt, and they're active and they're dialed in. And I don't know if these are the players that aren't dialed in, but obviously someone's not dialed in. I know Bade says improvement gets Sani. Well,
Facts.
that would be pretty sick if we got Leroy Sani, man. That would be pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, pretty much it, really. I just thought I'd have a little conversation with you, bro. Thanks for coming on, man. Where are we at now with these subs? We got the 5K subs or what?
I'll tell you now, we are currently 18 off. 18 off.
There's 450 people, yeah, in the stream. We need 18 people. Go over to the 1894. I've linked it. All you have to do is click the link or just type in 1894 on YouTube. Just subscribe. 18 people. Come on, man. Let's get this other city channel, the 1894. Let's get it to 5K, man. Let's build a city community together, yeah. So big up to Hugh's channel. And yeah, enjoy the big 6 tonight, bro. Make sure you get your digs in on Saeed, man, because obviously I see no one, man, after the L against United, bro, and you took it like a man, you know. So
I tell you what, man, he does it to himself, man. He does it to himself. He does a lot of chatting. I mean, they had a title race there for 3 days, and then he was telling me that City's era is over, and you know, the Manchester's red. Sustain a title race for more than 3 days, and then I might have a conversation with you. But listen, I'll save it for him later on.
Yeah, good idea, by the way, beyond belief. Yeah, links in the chat. Dave Rocky says, expect a Pep madness. Ake, Laporte, Diaz, Stones, back 4. Ake, Laporte, Diaz, Stones.
Oi, big up the City Extra community, 5K subs. Let's go.
There we go. That's it. Community moving together. Boom. Thank you, guys. Honestly, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
you guys
big love,
that.
man. What a community.
Yeah, you know, whatever he does, man, you know, Dave, I'm not arsed as long as he gets a little bit of consistency. So, yeah, GG's, bro. 5K, nice one, brother.
Thank you.
And Obeyed with the 5 gifted. Yes, Obeyed with another 5 gifted for the chat. Yes, guys. Let's get the W's in the chat. Let's get active. And then he says, go sub to 1894. Yeah, man, go do it. He's just got 5K. If you're not already done so, make sure you go subscribe. Right, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for coming on, brother. I appreciate that, man. Jordan's at football, innit? So, yeah, obviously you can't. I mean, to be fair, I could have.
Bro, music, man.
Yeah, I'm wrapping up, bro. This is part of the mixing.
Okay. Do your thing. Listen, thank you for having me on. Big up the City Extra community, and we'll see you very soon.
See you in a bit, guys, people.